call to order the Tourism and Arts Commission's meeting on Monday, April 21st at 9 a.m. Jackie, we have you on Zoom.
Yes, I am here.
And you said Michelle said,
I thought Michelle was gonna be Zoom, so we'll just keep an eye out for her.
okay, great. Well, thank you all for being here in our new setup. And, so our first agenda item is approval of minutes from February 10th and March 10th. And anyone have any changes to the February 10th? Okay, and then on to March 10th. Okay. So, do we have a motion to approve minutes? Motion to. Do I need a second? I can't remember. Yes, second, okay. All those in favor of approval of minutes from February 10th and March 10th? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have no one here for public comment. We have 3 chairs. So, empty chairs for now. I can't remember where we stand as far as announcing it to the public.
So, we were gonna work on Greg is working on a flyer.
That was on me.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have a severe writer's block, but I will readdress that, so.
Awesome,
I will
thank
have it
you.
out.
Get that flyer, we're gonna, once we have that done, we're gonna work with Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy will do some write-ups for us, and then we can put it on Facebook, we can put it in the bulletin, we can kind of make a big
To do.
to-do once we
Okay.
have everything kind of all organized and ready to go, and,
Okay,
yep.
great. Not public comment, but I was saying that Joyce from North by Northwest did reach out to me over the phone in regards to public art and her quest for more public art in town and had asked me to stop by the gallery at some point. So that is where we stand. Then I had a very sick dog, so it did not happen last week, but so that's the only contact that I've had, but it's on that public art front, so she would like to see more. So I'll leave that comment there.
On public art, just kind of
Yes.
fascinating, because we just completely moved an entire city hall building. I found some really cool old information on the public art program.
Oh,
So I found write-ups on things and all sorts of stuff that I threw in a box that I kept with me instead of sending off to the scanners. And so I'm gonna pull that stuff out and regurgitate, see what we can do, because we talked about updating the website, the flyer, all of that information. I found a ton of old stuff.
oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so
I think Tracy Abel was on that committee at one time as well.
yeah, there was a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that. So
Yeah.
to kind of have a little bit of a history, because when I first started kind of diving into this, and asking questions, it didn't seem like there was any information out there, including in public policy and.
Well, that doesn't exist. The public policy
Yeah.
definitely doesn't exist. This is more on the artwork itself,
Yeah,
but that way
but I
we
mean,
can have some more
that, and if there's
write-ups.
any information on there about processes that have been followed in the past and so forth, so that we can figure out if it makes sense to incorporate any of those,
Yeah.
or what worked and what didn't work, so we can adjust them.
So that kind of stuff I did have scanned, so as soon as that comes back, it'll be searchable and it'll be great, but the stuff on the artwork itself, I did save.
Okay.
But we'll get it all pieced together.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great. No, that's great. Process for requesting funds.
so that's a conversation about the updated flyer, Nancy will get with us.
Okay.
We'll get all of that kind of
All
together.
together, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Well, we might have a very short meeting. Purchase of public art and policy, so. Tom, you said you have adjustments to.
Yeah,
the
so the
edited-
first thing I'd like to just bring up on this thing is, yeah. We put this in here about giving preference to and support, there was it. preference to artists who are not currently showing in Cannon Beach galleries. Okay, and that was to address a specific problem that had occurred when we were, basically, as I understand it, there was the public art that was put on display and people got to vote as to what they liked.
Yeah.
And there was an issue with that. So this was to try to resolve that issue, but I think a better way of resolving that issue is, if we're going to continue to do that, or if we decide to do that, then the results of that gets one vote. And this whole group here is doing the rest of it, so it gets one vote, and we've got 6 votes. And I think that that could solve any issues of anybody abusing that system.
Agreed.
Agree.
So I think we could take that out, but make a comment somewhere in here, maybe under the process, within something about, any public, voting gets one vote.
Is it possible, that, I think that solves that problem. In addition, though, it would be nice to say, can we say anything about encouraging artists who are not currently showing in a Cannon Beach gallery? Just to let them know that, you don't have to be showing in a Cannon Beach gallery to submit something to us. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, so it does make sense. I guess what I'm thinking, and this is where we get into another question that I basically had, which was how do we take this sort of list of criteria and turn it into an actual policy statement? Yeah, but something like encouraging that, is that something that would go into the policy statement, or would that be sort of an operational? Because at some point we need to put a notice out,
Right.
the call for art. And we could just put it in that notice, that
That's
call for
good.
art, that
That would be
says,
fine with me.
we really encourage artists who are not currently showing.
So on the way you do it with your TAP, you have your TAP guidelines, and those are what are the guidelines that you use for award, but also what's presented in the grant application process. So if you had it in your statement, you would just put the whole statement in there, so that way everyone sees what all the guidelines are.
Right, okay,
So if you did it, you would just have to have it written once, and then you would say, these are the guidelines we follow, and you could go either way.
okay.
It's just not giving preference to somebody, it's just encouraging people who are not in the gallery,
Yeah.
so.
But anyways, as far as this goes, we take out point number 3. But somewhere in the process, we need a statement that, any public input gets one vote.
So if you do put, if you get that detailed as far as who gets one vote or how you do voting, if you ever want to change it, it will be harder to change, because you have to change your guidelines whenever you do that.
Okay.
So just from a procedural standpoint, you might want to leave this more as guidelines, and then let you guys amongst yourselves kind of decide how you're
Okay,
splitting things up.
all right.
We could do it that way though, that is definitely an option, if you want to be more set in that, it would just be more work to change if everyone wants to change it.
No, I'm fine, just, yeah, I think what'll happen is when we're ready to implement this, we'll just create a guidelines statement. That sounds like an easy way of doing it.
What would you want to put that in this?
And making it formal sort of makes it harder to change if you ever decide to change it, is your point.
Yeah. So if you want any guidelines you wanna have, we incorporate into this document,
Yeah.
but if you get super detailed, it limits you for
Yeah.
future adjustments, I guess is how.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying I don't know that we need to
Right.
put that in here that it's gonna get one vote.
Just having it as solicit public comments is probably good enough. And then because you're right, once you write it down, it's gonna be harder to change in the future. So if you just say solicit public comment. D on the process for purchasing. We have solicit public comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause then we would have to go through like we did when we changed the committee to encompass outside of, more infrastructure type or widening the scope, is that what we're saying? We'd have to go back in and have city council
Yeah.
read it twice
That's
and
what I understand.
do that whole amendment thing?
It's not the ordinance, but we would have to, you guys are carrying this policy, we will send the policy to council would approve it, then they change it, it does become more of a
Okay,
thing, so we can get broad
Yeah.
guidelines that you can kind of tweak a little. Cause the other thing is your committees are gonna change over the years and,
Yep.
But we do have to solicit public comments and it's up to you how to determine those public comments. Because you can solicit comments and still end up in a tie. If you have 5 pieces of art and 15 people say 3 each, so you may not actually get a clear, concise winner from the public comment, but it is a good idea to solicit and to take into consideration their comments.
Right.
true.
Okay.
And we wanted, on the give preference to artists we're not currently showing, did we want to change that to encouraging artists who we're not currently showing to apply?
Is that okay, Tom? Does that sit okay with you?
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can do that,
So we're not doing preference anymore.
right. We're just asking them to apply.
Now, with that change, I like this.
Are pretty much all the pieces that we have in public art now artists who have resided here?
I'm gonna say like the last time the public art did not go through tech. If there was a separate public art committee at one time, it wasn't a city sanctioned committee where they were in our ordinance though.
Okay.
It was more of a ad hoc, we didn't technically run it completely, because it's supposed to be a public meeting open to everyone, we
Yeah.
learned our things to fine tune that, but, they did a call for artists. That's how we got a lot of our work in the council chambers. And that was, I think I was there like maybe 4 or 5 years, so it's been a while since we've done it.
I was pre-COVID for the council chambers. for
Yeah,
sure.
it was
Yeah.
definitely well before COVID. So it's been a while, so this will be the first time that it's more of a tax function now that we've brought on tax
Through there.
purview,
Okay.
which is a great place to have it though.
Yeah,
And then it's actually a city sanctioned process where the public art was more just kind of like this little side group that wasn't quite as. They did a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's like over the years, we learned like, okay, you do need to have public meetings, you have to advertise,
Is the maintenance plan provided, is that just an addition? Or I'm just calling out because it's red and it's not crossed out or crossed through.
Yeah, that was when we added after the last meeting that we wanted a maintenance plan provided, so
Okay.
you guys could determine what would be needed for future.
Yes.
We could broaden it a little bit more. Say, current or 5-year, we can add more detail.
I don't know that I would add more detail in here.
Okay,
That's another one of those things where I think you could put it into operational guidelines.
yeah,
Yeah, to just to kind of flesh that out, I mean, what would it look like for somebody that would be put in? Yeah, I mean, so we want, maintenance plan, assuming a 99-year life or 5-year life, 10-year life.
Yeah.
Or something like
is it
that.
gonna need to be refurbished every 3 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else on the guidelines. The process, I think we need to adjust this a little bit because we decided it seemed like the TAC is going to be the committee.
Yes,
So to say that it's supervised by TAC doesn't make sense. I don't know that we say in here, the TAC is the committee. We say that?
we'll just actually take out the word supervise, just say the art purchase committee will be taxed.
Yeah,
Take out supervisor.
that's why we took off A, rather than setting up a new thing, we just decided we were it.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah.
You're in, you guys
We're
are
it.
Okay,
because you're really making the recommendation to council, and council's the one doing it, but you're gonna be the governing body that discusses it with council and says, hey, look what we came up with.
yeah,
This is great.
Can I make a motion that we approve the policy statement for public art as amended?
Yes.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send this over to Ashley, just to make sure that there's nothing funky that we haven't thought about. And then if she says, hey, this is good, we will send it to a work session to council. So that we can discuss it with council and then get their feedback and, then they can adopt it.
Okay, so I guess the only question that I have is, I mean, this is kind of a list of stuff that we want to have in the policy statement. I mean, is there a sort of standard city format for policy statements that we need to fit this into?
I'm making an assumption right now that we would adopt it through resolution. And so what would happen is Ashley and I would work on the resolution with some whereas clauses, and then this would just be exhibit A that's attached.
Okay,
So it would be pretty quick and easy. And so that way it's commemorated,
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Resolution process, so anyone can find it, and then, we would just amend as we make changes, because that's what they did with the Heritage Tree Program, things like that. We did it through resolution at the council level.
Okay,
Yeah, on a timeline though, just so you guys know, so we're in April now. In May, there's only one meeting in May for council, and so this may not hit council until June.
when does council meet in June?
They meet the first and second Tuesday of the month, let me see here. So we would meet June, the work session would be June 10th. So I will plug this in on.
Well, I guess the only thing that I would request is maybe we even push it off a month. I'm not gonna be here June 10th.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be out of town, and I would like to be at this session when it's discussed.
Okay, so in July work session, that would look at July 8th.
Okay,
So I'll schedule it for the July 8th, and that way, actually, that's good, because if Ashley comes back with any feedback, we can discuss it at the May meeting, and then fine tune it at the June meeting if we come up with other things, because sometimes she can ask thought-provoking questions and stuff we hadn't thought of.
right.
Okay, so I'm gonna schedule it for the July 8th work session.
About 6 o'clock.
Yes. That's gonna be exciting, guys. With your new person having a policy.
It is.
You know, word docs.
I know. Okay, are we good to move on to go to the order? I just, couple of things, wanted to check base where we are on scheduling. I was trying to, I know it's all up on the website, but I had a phone snafu where it put it in for like 20 days long. So. Yeah, we're hoping not for that, but
So for regular TAC meetings, we are scheduled for the third Monday of every month at 9 AM.
yeah,
Third Monday at 9 AM. If this is something you guys wanna change in the future, we definitely can. We just have to coordinate with, Laura here at the chamber, but for the summertime with traffic, I think 9 AM is gonna be gold.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did, we did get the dates, I don't have access to the server, so I forgot to download that document, but we did get all of our dates for the interviews.
We did,
And
okay,
I sent that out in an email.
Yeah.
I have the schedule revised, I don't remember if I sent out the actual schedule revised, so I will email it to you guys if I didn't.
And that's in May, right?
June,
Oh, it's in June.
yeah, the interviews will be in June. When we get to that point with the TAC grants, interview schedule, or let me see, email TAC and TAC.
I have June 24th, Tuesday. As the interview,
June 24th.
yes, but don't bank on that 100%.
I have that too. Yeah, June
Jackie said-
24th and then the recommendations on the 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ashley will be there on Zoom for the recommendations. What we're gonna do is when I send out the interview information to everybody, I will let them know, you can attend remotely. Remote attendance is definitely an option because parking in June will be a little chaotic and crazy. So,
What time are these interviews?
we have it scheduled from 9 to 1.
Got
So last year, we definitely didn't need that long because we do have less
Right.
people, and a lot of them are repeat that have been here before, so they've got their interview process down pretty quick. And then, I held the room from 10 to 5, but I can't remember what
Oh, for the
the
discussion.
27th. Let me look and see what I wrote on the email.
Discussion was when? I'm sorry, you guys.
Friday, the 27th from 10:30 to 1, I think it says. Or 10:30 to 1:30.
Oh, yeah, and I did send out the schedule, that was
Totally
posted.
seven.
Now, you're not gonna really need 10:30 to 1:30. We just booked it, so that way we had it, we have some flexibility on it.
And all of those are gonna be in the tiny little room.
Yes, that's where the remote option is encouraged.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Okay, I just wanted to verify.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what is there?
What time is this here?
So our tenth,
10:30.
so the.
10:30
is not.
Oh, okay.
So,
So you're gonna do the time.
yeah, we're gonna get a contempt facility and encourage remote attendance for anybody who wants to, because the conference room itself only holds comfortably 8.
It's actually not that bad.
It's really not bad, it's just,
It's comparable to our old conference room we had for the city.
Yeah, okay.
it's not, it's a model building, so you hear
Yeah.
things, so it's not ideal, but you know what? Once we get that new city hall, it's gonna be great. We'll look back at that, and remember that, those times.
You
where-
glass half full woman.
Yeah,
I gotta be.
I was gonna say, survival mode.
It's at the beginning of the process.
Yeah,
Is
Tim,
it-
our finance director says all the time, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So that's our,
Sunday.
Yeah.
What's
Seems
the
great.
target completion date?
the what?
The target completion date?
August, for city hall, it's August 26th, and the police station, I believe, is April 26th.
For May, and yeah.
Yeah, and we're on schedule, like everything is, nothing's been delayed,
When you,
we've been sticking with it and.
You better start knocking on a lot of wood if you're gonna
Yeah.
say something like that.
Don't jinx it.
But just getting moved was such a huge thing, like, that's why I thought for sure we were gonna, you know,
Yeah.
blow everything out of the water, but we got everything moved in a week, and.
That's good. Is the 27th in the little room too?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, because it's Sandcastle,
Oh, yeah.
and so, the chamber wasn't available. I think the 27th, it may have been available, but also by that point in time, we might as well just stick with it and get
Yeah.
it all, make sure everything works well.
Okay.
And that one, we don't have extra people attending, it's just us, and Ashley will be remote, Michelle will often be remote in afternoon meetings because of work anyways, and so we'll have enough people remote that it will be.
Okay.
won't be bad.
Okay,
Cool, thank you.
thank you.
And I'll just deal with it.
Anything else on the good of the order?
Look at us finishing early.
The only thing I had is I drove on one and I was like, I'm missing that dang sign, guys. I'm missing having a sign. On the
Oh,
Cannon Beach
city-
sign.
city sign?
I know Greg's laughing, Jackie's laughing.
And I have people telling me, I don't understand what the big deal is, just make a sign and put it up there.
I know.
You're so cute, naive.
Did you pat him on the head?
You have no idea.
Well,
Yeah.
I may not drop that one. I may.
How did you wait? How did you reduce the challenge?
I know.
You got
Okay,
ARB, got ODOT's,
yeah,
the
The
big,
chamber had, well, no, I mean, the chamber, when we gave them the money the last time, they did all the ODOT research and they have the stack of papers. So that's been done. It's just, the idea was, you know, solicit ideas from local artists and that whole
Fell
process
apart.
thing. That part, they were not ready to take on. They didn't have enough staff. They don't have enough staff right now. And so that part, they couldn't do it. So the problem is how do you do it? Because Karen was like, we'll we can take it, once you
Yeah.
have a sign, public works will go and do it, but. Yeah,
And you don't have to do the 3 bids, you just have to solicit. the
Well, if
artist.
it's an art thing, that sort of sounds familiar with what we were just talking
Yeah.
about.
yeah,
Yeah, let's just follow that, use this as an opportunity to try out our new process.
so maybe we could do it.
Well,
Eh,
I'm not saying I'm gonna 100% push it, but I may after a July wedding, put that at the forefront
Gotcha.
on myself.
On signage, we did, just so you guys know, 'cause it came up at the last meeting, we did order a different Newtown restaurant sign.
Oh, you did,
We did.
okay.
So I ordered it last week.
What, and where did you find one that didn't have the word gender on it? Or did you just suck it up and the word gender's on it?
We did the one that, Michelle had emailed council some information, and the suggested sign that she put in her email is the one we ordered.
Okay,
So we did order it, I think it'll be here in 5 to 7
What does it
days.
say?
I like that one. I just wanted it to say unisex instead of gender, but if it says gender, I frankly, I just don't care at this point.
So it actually says, it has a male, a woman, the icon for male and woman that's half and half. The baby and a person in a wheelchair with it accessible, it says restroom. This restroom may be used by any person regardless of gender, identity, or expression. So it covers everything.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So that's ordered, we will get it installed as soon as it gets delivered.
Great.
I haven't gone down there and walked, did you? I did notice some comment about the placement of the bench near, I don't know, I didn't understand it, but.
Circle bench?
Yeah,
I love that bench.
I know, someone was saying it was too close, is it close to a single stall entrance? I don't know, someone was making some comment. I was like, whatever. It's a beautiful bench, sit there. You're using a public restroom. Yeah, no, they're great. I am sure
Oh, yes.
you're questioning and, customers are much happier, I would think. Okay, do we have anything else? No, no, no?
Nope.
Record time? We will adjourn our meeting. Thank you. Thanks for zooming, Jack.
Yeah, thanks.